What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Just incredible performances by two warriors there in the octagon at UFC 273. What did you think of the fight? Let us know in the comments. Let's take a look around the MMA world to see what they thought of the fight. Let's get into it. Don't forget to take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all of the latest fight news. Conor McGregor calls on Dana White to increase fight bonuses for UFC 273. When Conor McGregor first entered the octagon back in April 2013, he knocked out Marcus Brimage in the first round, and he really put on a show. During his post-fight interview in the cage with Kenny Florian, McGregor asked Dana White for a $60,000 bonus, and his wish was granted. While the UFC has tinkered and changed the bonus payout system for UFC fighters throughout the years, they've now settled on a simple system that includes $50,000 performance of the night bonuses and/or fight of the night bonuses. They've just added a new fan bonus also, where fans get to vote online and the top 3 fighters get paid out tens of thousands of dollars in Bitcoin. But now, as we get closer to the weekend's UFC 273 event, Conor McGregor is calling on Dana White to give the fighters a little more scratch. This is what he posted on social media about it. While it's unlikely that Dana would add $10,000 to the fight bonuses, he is known to give discretionary bonuses that are not publicly known, so there is a chance that some fighters could get more depending on what happens. But what do you think about Conor calling for increased bonuses? Chael Sonnen is totally in for a Logan Paul Paddy Pimblett MMA fight. Logan Paul was all too happy to say he would love to fight Paddy Pimblett in talking to Ariel Helwani just a few days ago. While Paddy fights at lightweight 155 pounds, Logan Paul, who is much bigger, stated he would propose the two meet somewhere in the middle and would set up the fight at 185 pounds, middleweight. Paul is no stranger to combat sports. He's fought boxing twice, including one fight against Floyd Mayweather. He was also a top-level wrestler in the state of Ohio when he was younger, and even made it onto the Ohio University D1 program. Still, he has stated his intention to enter the cage at some point, and stated that Pimblett could be the perfect matchup, given the amount of promotion that could be done, hence the amount of money, but also because the size difference might offset the difference in experience and skill set. One person who is on board with this idea is Chael Sonnen. The American gangster expressed his interest in this fight in a recent video on his YouTube channel, in which he stated this.
I like it. This is no longer a discussion of Konjako with Paddy. It's completely different. I apologize, Logan. He's much bigger, so he's saying right now, when he calls out Paddy, he's saying right now, make me some concessions. Make the threat of unarmed combat, which is the most threatening sport that you can do, make the threat a little bit smaller.
With the amount of pounds that Paddy packs on during the offseason in between fights, Logan believes that this fight could actually take place. What do you make of Chael Sonnen's statements here? Dana White says Colby Covington violated the man code and says Chaos could face Khamzat next. It's UFC Fight Week, and that means we get to see UFC President Dana White answer a lot of the questions we've had since the last pay-per-view. And since March 5's UFC 272 event, Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington have taken their animosity outside of the cage. A few weeks after Colby beat Masvidal in a 5-round non-title main event, Masvidal was accused of having run up to Colby Covington and allegedly hit him outside of a Miami Beach steakhouse. Witnesses heard Masvidal saying, "You shouldn't have been talking about my kids." In the lead up to their UFC 272 main event last month, Colby had described Masvidal as a deadbeat dad and mentioned Masvidal's kids and ex-wife numerous times. After the altercation that happened outside of a restaurant on Miami Beach just a few weeks later, charges were filed and Masvidal surrendered to police, pled not guilty to aggravated battery and criminal mischief, and posted bail. He now faces up to 15 years in jail if he's found guilty, on top of a potential $10,000 fine. Now, a few weeks since that incident, White appeared on the Pat McAfee show to promote this weekend's UFC 273 event. Towards the end, McAfee asked White about his thoughts over the Masvidal and Colby fiasco since their fight. White stated that he didn't condone violence outside of the cage for any reason, but he also stated this.
You got to understand, these guys were actually friends and training partners, so they know intimate details about each other, about each other's lives, about each other's families. And, you know, there's something that's called man code, man. And,
yes.
and a lot of these young, goofy dudes these days don't know about it, but they need to learn about it.
Dana White went on to also announce that if Khamzat Chimaev beats Gilbert Burns this upcoming weekend, he'll likely take on Covington in his next fight. What are your thoughts on Dana White's comments here?